All right, so today we're going deep on a pretty major development in Nigeria.
Yeah, definitely big news.
President Tinubu's first media chat since taking office.
Right out the
He
gap.
comes out swinging in defense of this decision to remove the fuel subsidy.
Not pulling any punches, no.
Now, if you're following along with us,
Yeah?
and you probably are if you're interested in this kind of deep dive,
Yeah, I'd say so.
this is a super controversial topic,
Yeah.
but just to level set for anyone who might not be totally up to speed,
Sure.
can you give us a quick explainer on what a petrol subsidy even is and why getting rid of it is causing such a fuss?
Absolutely. So basically, a petrol subsidy means the government's paying part of the cost of fuel to keep prices low for consumers.
Okay.
Which sounds great on paper, right? I mean, who doesn't love cheap gas?
Right. Exactly.
Problem is, these subsidies can be a huge drain on government finances.
Makes sense, yeah.
Especially in a country like Nigeria, where oil production and revenue are, kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So Tinubu's argument is that axing this subsidy frees up a ton of money that can be used for other stuff.
And he was really specific about that in the media chat too, right? He straight up said removing the subsidy lets him meet the country's financial obligations without having to lean on the NNPC.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, for people who aren't familiar.
Right. Thanks for clarifying that.
Or even more importantly, he says he can avoid those ways and means advances from the central bank.
Okay, so I got to stop you there for a second because ways and means advances sound super technical and kind of scary, honestly.
Yeah, it's got a very ominous ring to it, doesn't it?
It does. Can you break that down? What are those and why is it so important to Tinubu that he steers clear of them?
Sure. So in the simplest terms, it's basically like the government taking out a payday loan from the central bank to cover its immediate expenses, when it's running low on cash.
Gotcha.
The problem is that doing this too much can lead to some nasty inflation, which would hit everyday Nigerians right in the pocketbook.
So this move is about way more than just balancing the budget then, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a power play, too.
How so?
By rejecting these quick fix solutions, Tinubu's sending a message. He's in charge. And he's not going to let the NNPC or anyone else dictate how he runs the country's finances.
That's a bold statement, especially this early in his term.
Totally. It's a big gamble.
So let's talk about the potential consequences here, because on the one hand, you've got Tinubu saying this is going to lead to a stronger, more independent Nigerian economy.
Right.
But on the other hand, we know cutting subsidies often means higher prices for regular people, right? So how does he justify that, especially when so many Nigerians are already struggling?
Yeah, I mean, that's the millionaire question, isn't it?
It is.
Because in the short term, at least, it's hard to see how this doesn't lead to some belt tightening for a lot of folks.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. Tinubu seems weirdly confident about all this, almost defiant, So that suggests to me that he's got something up his sleeve, some plan to mitigate the fallout for ordinary citizens.
Okay, so let's speculate a bit. What could those plans look like? What concrete actions could he take to soften the blow?
All right, so one option that gets tossed around a lot is targeted social safety nets.
Okay.
Basically, direct financial assistance to the poorest households to help them cope with those rising costs.
Makes sense.
He could also pump money into public transportation,
Interesting.
which would give people an affordable alternative to driving as those fuel prices go up.
Right, and that would kind of kill two birds with one stone, right?
Exactly. Invest in infrastructure and help people save money.
Now, would he go as far as price controls on essential goods?
That's a possibility.
Because that's a pretty drastic step.
Oh, for sure. But if he's serious about protecting the most vulnerable Nigerians, it's something he might have to consider to prevent runaway inflation.
So it sounds like we're going to have to wait and see how this all plays out.
Oh, absolutely. This is just the first chapter.
Tinubu's made a big move, but it's way too early to say if it'll pay off.
Right. Will it lead to that stronger, more independent Nigerian economy he's promising? Or will it backfire and cause even more hardship for the people he's supposed to be serving?
Big questions. No easy answers.
No easy answers, indeed.
But hey, that's why we do these deep dives, right?
Yeah.
To unpack the complexities and hopefully give our listeners some food for thought.
Exactly.
So if you're listening, we want to know what you think.
Yeah. Jump into the comments. Tell us your take on Tinubu's gamble.
Is he a visionary leader making tough but necessary choices?
Or is he playing with fire and risking the well-being of millions?
We're following this story closely, so stay tuned for updates as the situation unfolds.
This is one you definitely don't want to miss.
All right, that's it for today's deep dive. Catch you next time.
See ya!